It's great to have everyone here. And Craig, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here there now.
Great, Craig. How are you? Just a small introduction of yourself.
Yeah, so I suppose I'm a coach in Ireland. I'm a full time, so I run my own business, CR Coaching.
Right.
And my main part of the business then is doing one-to-one coaching sessions. So it's literally myself and the player. And I suppose it's something that it's massive beneficial to players. It's the technical side, it's different elements. It could be coming back from injury, and the sessions really they're position specific. So I suppose it's something that not all managers have time to do in a team setting to actually really focus on an individual player, you know.
Right.
Um, and then it's tailored to the player. So the player we base the sessions on basically the player's strengths, the player's weaknesses, and areas they want to work on to improve as well. So that's how we kind of work, and it's kind of grow from strength to strength. So and it's all different levels. It could be the youngest player we have coming into us is 6, and then we have all the way up to even today. Now I had a player from that plays with Stoke over in the Championship in England. So he was in with it this morning, and then you've your underage internationals all the way up the line as well. So you have it's good. It's very enjoyable, very good. So it is. So
Right.
that's
Uh,
me.
okay. Craig, your voice went towards the end. Couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me there again?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Okay. Craig, you said one-to-one sessions, and I researched a little about you. It all says that you take 1-to-1v1 sessions with players, international players, and all. Can you tell us more about that, and how much do you think international players need those sessions, or even grassroots players need it? Is it like a situation-specific thing, or is it like it should be done everywhere?
So yeah, so the international players, I suppose I have it's different ages and all that come into me. So
Right.
and it depends. Like some will come now, kind of. I have a few that come on a regular time. It might be literally maybe once a week even, and it's they just want really they want to go that extra step.
Right.
Um, so they want to be the best of the best, I suppose. So they find like they want to be working and training 7 days a week. And if they're doing that with their club, it's extra bits then they do with me. And it's I suppose it's just the intensity then of the session with me isn't
Right.
as high because they're obviously working very hard with their team environment, and then it's just the technical side. But from like it's what we spot in the one-to-ones, it's the small little details. They might come in and say their shooting technique is a bit off, but you kind of break it down and you can really see it's actually maybe down to their first touch,
Right.
or it could be like they're actually not just getting their head up. And it's something I suppose that sounds very simple, but it's something you don't see from a manager's point of view if you're watching a whole 11 players.
Right.
Um, and it's just tweaking these little bits, and it might be a striker turning him from, like, let's say a 15 goal player into that 20 plus player by just changing the slight little touch or a slight little tweak. Certain players then might come in because their managers, after telling them at international level that they're on the bench at the moment, if they can add this extra percentage to their game, it's going to get them into the starting team.
Right.
And then they'll decide on that. But it depends. Like some will come at certain stages of the season because there's maybe a tournament coming up and they want that extra few sessions just before the tournament, before they go to the Euros or something like that. And then, as I said, some then are coming really on a regular basis. But like I think it benefits every player. Like there's like, what I kind of say is, whatever they get out of the session with me, they have to practice it at home as well. So
Right.
like if you want to be the best player, you can't just do an hour a week in training or 2 hours a week in training. So like the best players that are coming to me, they're training maybe 3 or 4 times a week with their team. They're
Okay.
in with me once a week. They have a game once a week, and they're also taking on board anything that was said and working on it at home. So it's just creating, I suppose, a positive environment, a great culture that they're doing at home, at training,
Right.
with one-to-one coaches and in the game. So it just brings it all together, and it kind of really it pushes them a lot of. I suppose the other kind of thing that a lot of players don't think about is kind of the mental side of the game,
Right.
and it's just even the psychology of that and the positive attitude. So like a big thing with me is mistakes are brilliant because you can learn from mistakes.
Right.
And it's I suppose a lot of managers might, if a player's making a mistake, they're roaring and shouting at players. So I find a lot of players come to me and they have the ability, but they're afraid to do it in a game because they're afraid what their manager is going to say. So you have to really try to get the confidence and try to change that mindset within that session with me then. And it is hard, but you have to kind of change it that then when they go into the game with their manager or the training, that they're going to say in their own head, okay, I've made a mistake. All I can do the next time is do better than what I did. So it's just little things like that as well. It's a small little details, but it's doing it repetition, you know. So it is.
Okay. I have a question here for you, Craig. Usually all the coaches here, I'm also a coach, so we usually do group sessions, right?
Yeah.
So we have an age group of under 12, we have 10 people or maybe 12 kids or 15 kids. How did you get into 1v1 coaching? Where was the motivation for you personally?
So it's something like I've always done the team coaching as well. So, and I would have coached, I suppose, every age from 3-year-olds up to 43-year-olds, right? But I suppose it's just helping them players go that extra step. And it's even, I suppose, from a goalkeeping point of view, even let's say take goalkeepers, for example. If you have a goalkeeper in a team environment, they get very little coaching that's going to help them, bar standing in a goal and loads of shots in a game. So it's just giving them that extra. And you find even take a goalkeeper, if you take a goalkeeper out and do an hour a week with a goalkeeper, they'll improve so much. And it mightn't be the best level of goalkeeping, but if they're not doing any goalkeeping at all, it'll up it again. So, and you can give more attention to the player in a one-to-one environment. And the player feels a lot more respected, and they'll push themselves then more for the coach when they feel respected and they feel they're getting the attention. It's the same if even in a team environment. If the minute you're into a session, you're constantly calling the players' names and they feel respected, they feel you know them, they feel you're talking to them, and it really nails into it. Now, it is, I suppose, it's a different, like, I wouldn't say every coach doing a team environment would be able to do one-to-ones. Just because you really have to have the eye to see the little points. It's not, it's not just setting up a drill and letting the player do it, and then every now and again you're saying, well done, brilliant, all this kind of thing. You have to find the points a lot more. So you do. That kind of way. But it was down to really, I suppose, my passion for the game and passion really to help people, that kind of way. So it is. And I think as well, like, if you're helping players on an individual basis, you're going to end up helping the team eventually as well. That kind of way.
True. Yeah. There are a lot of questions coming in from the participants, Craig. I'll urge all the participants to write their questions down. I could take you on the line with your video and your audio on, and you could ask the questions yourself to Craig, if that's okay with you. I'll just introduce you once I'm about to ask a question. Craig, one more question from my side, because I have 50 questions written down here.
Yeah.
I'll just ask the main ones that I have. Okay. You said that you train kids right from starting from the age of 3 up till to the age of 43, you said. How different is it working with a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old and working with somebody like an international player, because they are on another level of technique and mental, and a 5-year-old kid, so it's very difficult to map requirements. So how does that work out for you?
Personally, I have a lot of patience.
Okay.
And that is vital for your 3-year-olds, your 5-year-olds, your 6-year-olds, all that kind of thing.
Right.
And that really, like, coaching that age is really about getting them interested in a sport and making it a lot of fun. So what I would kind of do is you have, let's say your idea, you want to get a 3-year-old even to share the ball, to pass the ball, and to work as a team. So you kind of you think outside the box. And a game I play it's stuck in the mud, with the younger kids, and literally if you get caught, you freeze, and then you're helping your teammates and you're working as a team. Then by by freeing the person that's caught. So that's kind of getting what you want out of it by teamwork, but they're having fun at the same time.
Okay.
The international players, then it's the difference with that is you're really kind of finding the nitpicking side of things. And I suppose, thankfully, if a player is coming at international level to a 1-to-1, you know they're going to be open to taking points on board because they want to learn coming in the first place, you know.
1 second, Craig. I think.
Hello?
Okay, 1 second, Craig. Somebody, there's a thing where people can unmute themselves. So
Yes.
there are a lot of kids here too. Ryan, could you mute? I don't know who's talking over the mic. There are a lot of everyone. Cool. Craig, could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, started.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So from, like, I suppose the international player again, like, they're coming to me from the start because they want to learn. So I know already that they're willing to take points on board. But let's say if in a team environment, the problem with a team environment is if you get a player that's at international level, you have to be careful, I suppose, of what they say, because they might be open to taking criticism, and depending on their kind of, I suppose, their respect for the coach as well, because if they don't respect the coach, they'll think, oh, but I'm playing with an international team, I don't need to listen to you, you know. So I suppose I'm lucky that way, that I know in the 1-to-1 situation they're coming to me, so they do want to learn. But it is really like the difference, I suppose, between the 3-year-olds and the higher level is you're making it fun really from nearly 3 years of age to 12, 13-year-olds. You're making it fun. It's all about fun in my eyes. But you're still getting what you want to do with it. And then from your 14 up, you're kind of starting to really kind of see if they want to go far, or if they want to go, you know, playing with a team across in the UK or something like that, or at your international stage, you know, that kind of way. So it's really kind of, but because of the 1-to-1, you can really get to know the player, and you know if they're ambitious, or you know if they're willing to, if they're just there to kind of slowly learn and take something from each session. You know, that's the important thing, that like in the 1-to-1s, it's important the players don't think they're going to become Ronaldo or Messi after 1 hour of a session. That it takes time. It takes like someone could come into me and they could ask me how long are they going to come to me for. I don't have that answer, because they can't just work with me for an hour a week. They have to do it, as I said already, at home, in training, in matches, the whole lot. It all has to come together, you know.
Okay. Craig, we have a question here from Neeraj. Neeraj, you can unmute yourself and ask the question yourself. Neeraj, if you're here.
Yes. Hi, Sid. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, Neeraj, clear, loud and clear.
Okay. Craig, hi, Neeraj here.
Hi there.
I'm a coach for past 10 years, and I had the slight experience about going on a 1v1 coaching. So I'm a little bit curious. So when I was taking the 1v1 one-on-one coaching I've had, so I was focusing majorly on the technical and the physical aspects of the player, and it just made me question myself, and I just wanted to clear it from you. How do you have any set ratio about a technique to physique coaching when you're coaching an individual, or does it vary from player to player?
Yeah, so like from the very start, before any player would come to me, I'll ask them what position they play, what team they're with, what age they are. So you have an idea already of kind of what's coming into you. And then I'll design my session on 3 things: on their strengths, their weaknesses, and the areas that they want to improve.
Okay.
So straight away, the session then is personal to that player. So like that player might tell you they have, let's say they have one very strong leg and one very weak leg. So straight away, I'm thinking, right, it's technique they want, not anything physical or they don't want fitness. It's the technique. It's they want to work on their, let's say their left leg, for example.
Okay.
So my session then is set up. Now, it's very important as well, though, that you don't just do work with their left leg then. You have to work with their strong leg as well. So every session I do will always work on something with their right leg and something with their left leg. But I suppose the real key thing to answer your question is design the session on what the player wants, because they're getting the most out of the session then. Don't just design the same session for every player.
Okay. All right. There is a follow-up question on the same, staying on the same topic. There is a technical and physical difference between an Indian kid at a grassroots level and a European kid, I would say. There would be, because the kids majorly, they come in for a recreational purpose during the one-on-one coaching. And most of the times, the kids which we have to deal with, say for the let's say under 14s, all the under 14s, the most of the kids, they are not in a good physical shape. So their prime motive is to shred some weight, and then maybe I can start playing with football. So that's their approach, or the approach of the parents.
Yes.
So my question to you is, how do we move ahead and make sure that they shred down the weight, which is what they want, and at the same time, how do we get them interested in playing football?
So there's two things we'll say. Like, for me, it depends on when you say about why do they want to do the weight side of things?
Pardon?
What your first point? Why do they want to do? Why are they worried about the physique side in the first place? We'll say.
They're just more worried about losing their weight. So the parents. Sorry to cut you off. I'll just give you a scenario about what my experience was. So the parents said, he's a little bit on a fatter side, and we would like him to run a lot. So that is the mentality of the parents over here. Okay,
so I suppose from my point, I will never do any running for a child without a ball.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you have to do sessions that will bring in a ball, but what you do is you're not telling the child that you're trying to lose weight for them. You're just increasing the intensity in the session. Mm-hmm. So the session is a bit faster than normal.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense? Because if they're doing... If they're, even let's say you set up some sort of dribbling relay, so a dribbling race, let's say, and by them doing that, they have a ball at their feet, and at the end of let's say they go through 5 or 6 cones, they take a shot on goal. So in the player's head, they're trying to score a goal, and their challenge is to see how many goals they can score in a certain time, let's say. So they're having a fun race, but at the same time, over time, the parents are getting what they want out of it, and the child doesn't realize that he's actually running now because he's got a ball at his feet.
That's right. So I mean, you can include the time factor too. I mean, if you're taking, say, for example, 10 seconds to complete one relay circuit of a... my bad. Hi, Craig. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear you, yeah.
Apologies. I mean, just to continue the discussion further, maybe if you can put in a time frame for a set drill. So there is a relay dribbling circuit, and you ask them to do it in 10 seconds, so you can reduce the time to 5 seconds, for example, and you can say to ask them to perform the same technique again.
Yeah, like it depends. Like you start off kind of at a higher, let's say 30 seconds to do it or something like that. So you're just kind of at the start, they're just getting used to it, and as such, they're having fun. And then after a while, you're like, okay, I'm going to challenge you now, because I think, and you're kind of like, I think you can do this faster. I'm going to challenge you, and you say, right, can you do it now in 25 seconds? Just take a small bit off it, that you have to still you have to be careful that you don't have too short a time, because then the child won't be able to complete it in the time that you give them, and they won't have fun.
Right.
So don't over challenge the child as well at the same time, because this child, like, see, the other thing is, the other question to ask from the parents' mindset is it the child wants to lose weight, or is the parents? See, like, the child could be happy the way they are.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Yeah, I got that.
So if the child is happy the way he or she is, then they mightn't want to do all the running. So you definitely need to have some sort of challenge with them, you know? Because, like, the way I look at, like, I started playing soccer, and I started coaching soccer because I love it, you know? And the majority of players and the majority of coaches are doing this because they love doing it, you know? So you have to have that element. It has to be about enjoyment as well. So it does.
Exactly. Fair enough. I think that is pretty much clear about how should the approach be, more or less. That's what we are just trying to figure out, you know, a general approach towards an individual kid who is not so interested in getting into the game. So I think that is pretty much clear. I would just like to ask you one question. If Sid, is it fine if I just continue with the questions?
All good, man. All good. No problem.
Okay, thanks, Sid. Thanks. Craig, now going through, say, we are with the kid for around 2 months, 3 months. My question is, how do you approach the results, or how do you evaluate the improvement of the kid based on his performance in a team? That's
So again, it depends on, if you rewind to the very first session you had with that child, and they told you they wanted to, let's say, improve, let's say they're right-legged, and they said to you they can't kick a ball with their left leg, they want to improve their left leg, okay? So let's say they're a striker, okay? They play up front. In 2 months' time, if they score a goal with their team with their left leg, they are over the moon, and you have your job done. It's as simple as that. Because it depends again on, like, now that could be your average child. Like, you might have an international player, and they need to improve this, let's say X, because they're on the bench and they need to get on the senior team or into the first team. So again, it's there's no real kind of scale, because it's very hard when every player is different. They all have different things to improve on.
Exactly.
It could be a goalkeeper. The goalkeeper might always leave in goals. Has never had a clean sheet, and if that goalkeeper keeps a clean sheet in 3 months' time, well, that goalkeeper has improved. You know. So and you have to really kind of like really congratulate them on that clean sheet, or really congratulate them on that goal that they scored with their left leg, and so on. You know.
So it's more of a mental
improvement. Yeah.
So go on.
No, if they can see that improvement, then you kind of have to say, look, exactly, you came into me the first day and you told me you couldn't kick a ball with your left leg. Look what you have to do now. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Well done. You know, now let's go and try, see, can we score 2 or 3 goals with your left leg, you know? So you just up the goal then again, kind of thing.
Right. So just one last question. I mean, the questions were majorly framed on the 4 aspects of the player. So technical, tactical, physical, and mental. So I think we have touched 3 parts, the physical, technical, and mental part. Now, the most important part about the limitations for one-on-one coaching is, how do you convey the tactical aspect of the game in a one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, so the tactical, I suppose, you have to really, you're creating patterns of play, and you as the coach, you kind of fill in. So we'll take, let's say, a striker again today, because I had a striker this morning. And what he was doing then was you have to get them in the position on a pitch that they are. So if it's a striker, they have to be working in the area in front of the goal. You know, they can't be working in a blank space with no goals. you have to make the match realistic. Then you have to, let's say, create little scenarios. So let's say, what's a striker going to do? A striker might drop off into space and create a little combination play with the number 10, and do a little bounce pass. So you have to then, you as the coach then might be that number 10 in this session, and you bounce that pass with them. Then they spin out into space, and then they're working on the shooting. And I suppose as well, it's challenging them. So let's say a striker again, if you don't have a goalkeeper, but you have a goal, put like cones near the corners, and then you're challenging that striker, right? There's no goalkeeper there, but if there was a goalkeeper there, you couldn't score down the middle of the goal. So let's now find the corners and challenge yourself to see, can you put it into the bottom corners or top corners and things like that. If it's then the likes of, let's say, take a centre back, start the centre back then a bit further down the pitch. But what I always do is, obviously it's just you and a centre back. So if you told the centre back, just, they were, let's say, switching play, so they were putting a ball from the left out to the right. What I do is they're switching that ball, but they're putting that ball into a goal again, because it gives a kind of a realistic target to hit, rather than saying, kick that down the line into space.
Right.
You know, they don't have a kind of an end goal. So you're putting that some sort of target, or you might even, if you don't have a goal, you might even just have 2 cones, and they have to literally pass it through them cones as the goal.
Okay.
But the main key, I suppose, to make it tactically awareness is kind of putting them in the position that they're going to be playing on in a game. Have your main session in that area on the pitch that you're doing it with them.
Okay.
You know, and it's just talking it through. It's having
Okay.
Yeah, I think that clears up pretty most of the questions which I had regarding the individual coaching. And Craig, thank you very much for just explaining me all the 4 quadrants of the players. And I think I'll just pass on the baton back to Sid. So Sid, over to you. And thank you very much again, Sid.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Neeraj. That was really informative, asking according to the 4 corners of the FA, as we call it. Andy had a question over here. Andy, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, Andy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, it was just in relation to the diet. Another way that I've done before in the past is by educating the parents as well. So instead of just saying maybe my child's overweight, look at sort of what they're getting in terms of what they're eating, what's the sort of drinks that they're taking, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Like, I suppose, and that's kind of down to, if I take it back to the bit I was saying, Andy, about kind of, you know, let's say if I'm teaching the player about something in the training, they have to do this at home, and they have to do it in the, you know, if they're doing something with me, let's say on the 1-to-1, they have to take it back home, and they have to take it to training during the week, and they have to take it into the match. So it's again down to the culture, and you're spot on. It has to down to the parents' attitude as well, because like, I suppose if I'm doing something, if I'm trying to tell them something in my session, and the coach is on the same lines of them, but then if they go home and their parent, let's say, has a what way am I put it, kind of a big say, if their parents tells them, no, you're perfect the way you are, like, that's not going to help them. That's going to just confuse the child. So definitely, it's all about creating that culture everywhere they are, especially if they want to go to the top level. But like, the overweight thing to me is kind of, I suppose it's a hard one, because, like, as I said there in the conversation, it's the parents. Like, the child could be totally happy the way they are, you know. And then it's very hard then to actually bring them into a session and have that as your goal, because you could literally, the parent could tell you that's what they want, and then you could ask the child, what would you like to get out of the session? And the child could literally tell me, I want to have a few goals and all this kind of thing. That's what you're trying to bring into it then. So it's a difficult one, and again, it really does depend down to the parents, because you could approach this with the parents and go into, like, you know, their food side of things, and, you know, like, definitely 100%. There is people that the minute they leave training, they're going to find a McDonald's or something and go that way, you know. And I suppose it's down to what them parents were doing when they were children as well. It doesn't just kind of happen overnight either. Do you know, it's a big process, and they could end up. See, the worry is if you say that to the parents, would the parents then actually stop the child playing sport altogether because they think, oh, should the coach is trying to tell us we're not parenting right or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose it's getting to know the parents for a few weeks or even a few months first, before then you can say, okay, they are open to actually taking something on board, you know? Because you don't want the child to lose out. The child could be happy to come to the sessions from the shooting point of view, or, you know, just getting a bit of fun. And if the parent then takes that away from them, then again, well, then the child is literally sitting at home with a horrible diet on watching a screen all day long, and they're just going to get worse, you know. So it's a very thin line to try approach it, but you are spot on. It is definitely a major factor in it. You know, whether it's going to come into play, but it's one that you can't really say straight out, you know, especially if you don't know this parent. And if you said over a phone call, you're risking, as I said, that child not coming at all, you know. So it is that kind of way. So, but it's definitely a great point. Like, so it is, yeah.
Perfect, top man.
All right, no bother, Andy.
Thank you so much, Andy. I hope Craig clear your points, and Craig, you have really great insight on everything, man. I'll just put Ryan on the line. Ryan, are you here?
Yeah, hi Craig. So there are some players as well over here from our academy. I can see 3. One of the girls, Pooja, she plays for the state team, which is like a county team in the UK. She has a question for you. So in case you can just clear the doubts from a Pooja, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hi sir, Pooja here. My question to you that is, you mostly take up 1v1 training, but in match-like situations, it will be most like 1v2, 1v3. So, why do you give more priorities to 1v1? Why not 1v2 or 1v3?
So if you break an 11v11 match down, it's actually 11 1v1s on a pitch. It's not 1v2s or 1v3s. It's actually 1v1s. So what position do you play?
I play defense.
Okay, so if you're in defense, if a striker gets the ball, a forward gets the ball, it's just you and that girl looking at each other trying to get the ball. And if you break it down like that, then, so if you're a defender now, so you need to work on, then it might be, if it's a 1v1 situation, it will be like the coach will be the forward, and that coach then will be trying to get past you. Now, it won't be full contact tackling. It'll just be the shadow play and getting you into the right kind of stance, whether you're pressing that way or whether you're going back the other way. And you'll work then on little techniques like heading is one technique I suppose a defender needs to do, but it's not something that will come into a whole session. It might be a bit of SAQ, quick feet work at the start, and at the end of the SAQ you'll do a little defensive header and stuff like that. But it's about the body shape. So like a lot of it would be like a pattern of play now I do for defenders would be you get out and you'd press the ball, but that would just be the coach with a ball at their feet, and you just come out nice and quick. You'd press them, then you'd go backwards on your toes back into position, then you might go forward again and you get up for a header, back into your position again. So it's a lot of that quick movement, out and back kind of thing, that you're out and pressing the ball and then you're back in again, that you kind of have to be constantly on your toes. But it's hard to kind of, when you really dig deep into it, it's an 11v11 match is actually 11 1v1s. And you just need to get that bit right first, because if you kind of think too much about, let's say in a game, if there's 2 forwards, you just need to stop the person with has the ball. They're the most dangerous player, that person with the ball. Other players are not a threat. So you need to deal with the person that has the ball at the first stage. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Craig, there's one more question here.
Yeah.
1 second, I'm going back to the chat. Okay, there's a question from Deepak who says, how many sessions in a week do you suggest for 1v1 sessions, and how many sessions with team?
So it depends again on the level. Like the majority of players should probably be doing 2 sessions a week with their team. And then with a 1v1, again, it depends. If it's just kind of a local kind of team, 1 session a week is fine on top of your 2 sessions. Because then you just need to do the extra bits. It could be even 10 minutes a day at home, doing a little passing drill off even. All you need is a ball and a wall at home. You know, you don't need to go mad getting loads of equipment. All you need really is a ball. If you're looking for, let's say, even if it's something dribbling, then you can use, instead of using cones, you could use shoes. You can use socks to create different cones at home. There's plenty of objects that you can use instead of getting all this equipment. But one, if it's a local level, just 1-1-1, and then you're 2, because that's 3 sessions, and then you have your match. So you need that time as well to kind of recover it. And it depends as well, like at local level, a lot of players could be playing different sports as well. So you have to take that into consideration. And then I suppose when you get to the higher level, some players will come in maybe for 2 sessions a week. But again, that depends on the week that they have, because they could have 3 or 4 sessions with their club as well, and then potentially their match at the weekend. So you don't want to overload them with work either, because then you're going to burn out as well. So it really, again, it's all down to the individual player. That's not an answer really, I suppose, or there's not an answer really you can give for everyone across the board, if that makes sense.
Right. Makes sense. So basically, Craig, you judge a player's ability and where they want to be at, and according to that, you make a plan around them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Great. There's one more question from Prakhar. He says, "Hi, Craig. I wanted to ask how a player manages the time between games, practices, gym sessions, and individual sessions."
Yeah, like I suppose it is again. It's one that you really have to you have to buy into it as such. That like if you're going to commit to be at a high level, you just have to make the time. You have to commit to making these times, because at the start it might feel like, oh, you're tired after a week, because you've 3 sessions a week, you're in the gym twice, you have a 1-to-1, and you have a match. But over time, like let's say 6 months to 12 months, it all pays off, and you'll start to see it all coming off then on the pitch. But again, that is down to literally it's the mindset as well to be able to tell yourself, yes, I'm tired, or yes, not that you're tired, but yes, I'm doing a lot in the week. But if you want to get to be the best, you got to work for it. You don't get anything. Talent you're not born with talent. You have to work hard for it, and you have to constantly work. It's the same Messi, Ronaldo. They didn't wake up yesterday and were the world's best players. They constantly worked, and they started at local teams, and they worked on, and they kept going. And even to this day, even during the whole lockdown coronavirus, they're probably still training 7 days a week at home, doing double sessions, probably one with the ball and one in the gym. So it all pays off. So it does. So I definitely say, like, it might seem hard to kind of juggle it all, but definitely keep working hard and it'll pay off. So it will.
Right. Okay. You talked about Messi and Ronaldo. There's a very famous Messi interview where the interviewer asks him that, how did you become an overnight success? And Messi answers, I worked 17 years of my life to become an overnight success. So I think that's how it went down. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we have a question here, Craig, from Yash. He says, now that grounds are open, on what particular aspects do the players need to focus on? And is it necessary to start from the basics?
So that's one thing. I suppose there's loads of players now the last few weeks since I've been back coaching again, and players come to me, and the main thing to get them straight in the minute they come back to you is just get them with the ball, because if they've been so long, they've been weeks, months without a football, they're going to be rusty. The little passing or the touches, it's all going to be kind of all over the place. Yes, they're not going to be, I suppose, at a fitness level that's what they were. But if you go straight from doing nothing for 6, 8, 10 weeks and straight into fitness, them players are going to get injured, and then they're going to be out for another 6 to 8 weeks. So literally straight away, even the first session going into a team session, the first session you do with your team should literally just be a game of ball, just play a match.
Right.
And literally you're easing them in slowly, and eventually they'll slowly start to get their touches back. And even going into a match, they're going to get some sort of level of fitness anyway, because it's match specific. It's not your long runs and all that, because you're not going to do long runs in a game. So it's the short and sharp runs that you're going to do in a match, and the twists and turns that all will benefit that way. But get them on a ball. Get them a ball.
Okay.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. Okay. Craig, I have a question for you, which is from me. Okay, you started CR coaching in July 2018, I can see. And what was the basis behind that? What was the motivation, or where did you get the idea to start your own thing?
Yeah, so I suppose since I was very young, I've always wanted to be a soccer coach.
Okay.
And I suppose in Ireland, it's kind of difficult to have a full-time job in it. There isn't many jobs there, unless you're working with the association FAI. And I suppose even with that, I find a lot of the jobs you're not even coaching full-time. You know, you're doing a lot of work in an office or admin and all that stuff. Like, I wanted to, I suppose my enjoyment was on the pitch and constantly coaching and all that. So I wanted to kind of go into that sort of lines, and then I had the passion to helping players and helping individuals. So then it was I suppose I took a big risk and said I was going to give it a go. But I suppose it was something that I was passionate about, so I gave 100% to it. And it's the same with a player. If you want to be at the top level or doing something full time, you're going to give 100%, and you need to give 100% to it.
Right.
So I just said, then I was kind of like, look, this is what I want to do. It's what I love doing. And I said I'd give it a go. And like I'm nearly 2 years now, and I have nearly 200 one-to-one clients that come into me. Like, so it's been brilliant, you know, and it's something that there's not many people in Ireland doing it either.
Right.
So I'm one of very few people doing it. So I am. So I suppose that's why as such it's working, and it's a benefit to every player, you know, to have this service. Even the player that I had today with me that's playing with Stoke City in England, he's never had a one-to-one session before he came to me today. Never. And he's playing in the UK, you know, so and he was delighted. So it is a bit beneficial. It's an extra added thing that if you want to get to the top, you know, to kind of bring into your game, you know.
Right. Okay. I can see here, Craig, that you studied from Cork University Institute of Technology. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you did your UEFA B license. How was the transition like from this Institute of Technology? Did you do a technical course, or was it coaching related?
So that was just it was a different course. So the course I did in college was to do with teaching, just teaching in a school.
Right.
So that kind of gave me the background on being able to and kind of the confidence of getting up and, you know, the teaching and all that. And I suppose because I already had the passion from the soccer side of it.
Right.
So it was just kind of linking the two together then. And I suppose just being in Cork Institute of Technology as well, I was able to coach the soccer teams in there. And I'm still doing that. I'm still coaching. I'm coaching the men's team and the women's team in Cork Institute of Technology now at the moment as well. So I have the mix of both then as well, and see, I suppose the benefit for players that are on a team that I'm manager of is they can get one-to-one sessions on top of the team environment, and I already know their strengths and their weaknesses from watching their games as well. So it's a big bonus that kind of way. And then like the B license then and so on, like it just brings it more into the coaching side of things then, so you're able to link the two. And I suppose even the course I did in Cork Institute of Technology, it really helped with doing the younger ages. And then obviously the B license then helps with, you know, your older groups and your international players and all that kind of thing. So they both kind of work together, and they both help each other out. So they do.
Okay. Thanks, Craig. We have a question here from Sean, who is a football player from Pune, and he's 17. Sean, could you come on the line and ask a question? 1 second. Because Sean, I don't know, there's something wrong with Sean's camera. Neeraj, you must have questions, I'm sure. Where are you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Hi, Craig. Hi again.
Right?
Now let's address the elephant in the room. With the current situation going on with the COVID-19 and how it is affecting football, and keeping in mind the one-on-one sessions. Now, when we do a one-on-one sessions, they are more intense, and the players are tired, or they are being pushed to the limits pretty much quickly compared to the group sessions.
Yes.
So once they inhale or exhale, there are more chances of them catching a virus which is afloat in the air. So how, as a coach in an individual session, how do we deal with that?
So with the individual session, before every session, even before the virus, you're always a distance away from the player. So you never get into close contact with a player anyway in a 1v1, because it's literally just two people, and it might be the two people out in the whole pitch.
What are the exercises I can do during
where when you're in a team situation, there's loads of players kind of movement around the pitch and all that kind of thing. So that's in a team. It's actually more dangerous in a team environment than in just a 1v1. And I suppose just even down to you're on about the intensity of the session and players kind of getting tired quicker. It's what I do. Let's say if the session is an hour, every 15 minutes they have a break and they have a drink of water every 15 minutes in a 1v1, because it is more intense than a team environment, because you'll have your break in a team environment. The other thing, even if we go back there a while ago to, let's say, the dribbling race we did, if let's say the player does, let's say in your session you have 10 footballs, they're going to do this race 10 times. They do the race, they put the ball into the goal, they score the goal, then they walk back to you for the next one. So that way you're getting your rest and your work to rest ratios in, rather than if they went fast through the dribbling, scored a goal, and if they ran back to ball again, there's no rest whatsoever, and that's not match realistic. So by like in a match, they're not going to be constantly running. They're going to be able to take a run, then they might jog for a bit, then they might walk for a bit, then if the ball goes out of play, they might be standing around for a little second. So you have to create that in the 1v1 as well, so you do. Right.
Again, staying on the same, the COVID-19 issue. Now, if a player has a medical condition and God forbid, if anything happens to him during a one-on-one sessions. So just to summarize it up, if there is a medical emergency in these circumstances, and you're the only one there as a coach, so you're the first responder, and it can be a little bit tricky because you don't know who has been affected with the virus. It could be the player or the coach. So, I mean, it's a very tricky situation to be in. It won't happen, but it's 1 in a million situation. So, are there any plans which you have thought of, or what we can do regarding
it's down to, it depends on the age of the person as well. So if you have a child coming into you for a session, their parent is going to be sitting in the car outside the pitch. Or they might be walking around the pitch, something like that. So their parent is going to be nearby if that's a child. So then it's literally a simple situation of shouting at their parents, do you mind coming over, their mum or their dad, or it could be a brother or sister or anyone family related. It could be whoever brought them to the session. If it's an older player, then it's a simple case of you have your mask with you and you have your gloves as well at the pitch, and then if you put on your mask and your gloves, then you're fine then to treat that player. So you are.
Okay. From my personal experiences, the Indian parents, I was speaking about the Indian situation here. The parents, once they hand over the kid to the coach, they are just, they're gone. I mean, so that is one thing which I have seen on a pretty regular basis, that the parents, as soon as they have, so.
Then you're just going to have to, for all sessions, have a mask and have gloves with you. And like obviously then the minute you use that mask or the minute you use them gloves, you're going to have a few, worst case scenario, you have in a full day, 8 hours of coaching, you have 2 players that get injured, you're then going to have 2 masks, and you're going to have 2
Right.
sets of gloves. You know, so you know, because you obviously can't use the same pair of gloves with the 2
Right.
players. You know, so you're just going to have that like in your medical bag, or even you know you're going to have that backup, or even with your set of cones, your footballs, always have the gloves and the mask with you. You know, especially if, as you say, if the parents are going to be gone.
That's true.
That,
that's true.
You know?
Yeah. So you would suggest to carry an extra pair of protective gear whenever you're going for a one-on-one session, especially for the kids,
Yes.
not for us, but for the kids you're coaching.
Exactly. It's just to keep the kids safe. You know. Yeah.
Okay. Just another question, keeping the current situation, the COVID-19 situation. Now, how do you see the one-on-one coaching moving ahead post COVID-19?
So I suppose at the moment, one-to-one coaching is gone through the roof. Everybody wants it because they can't train in a team environment. When it goes back to a team environment, obviously some players mightn't come back for the one-to-ones because they're going to be too busy with their teams. But let's say I look at me at the moment. Let's say I get 10 new clients this week. When they'll go back to their team, all I'm looking to do is maybe potentially keep on 1 or 2 of them 10 clients, because I'm going to have work as well with teams myself. So it's having that balance that at the moment it's very busy because there's nothing else to do. And then when, it sounds kind of, but it's the truth. They can't train at the moment. They can't play matches. So the one-to-one coaching is massive beneficial at the moment for anyone to do. And it's not even from a playing point of view, but it's the mental health as well of players, that they've been so used to playing and training on a regular basis, and now they have nothing to do. So the one-to-one is massive then for them to give that exercise, and exercise is so good for your mental health as well. So it is, but it will it's still always going to be there, even when COVID is gone. Players will still want that extra coaching. They'll always want that extra coaching, because it's something extra. It's the same like this that Andy spoke about, the diet. Your diet helps you be a better player. Working in the gym helps you be a better player. It all kind of creates this culture that I'm trying to speak about as well, So it does.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll just take a back seat for now. And
perfect.
Yeah. All right. So on towards the next question. Thank you, Craig.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Neeraj. Thanks a lot. You can always ask questions, man. It's not a problem.
Sure,
Okay.
I will.
Yeah, okay. Sean is here. He's the captain of Mega Pro Football Academy. Sean, could you please come on the line? We couldn't connect with you before.
Hi, sir.
Perfect. Hi, Sean. Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Hi, sir. It's me, Sean from Mega Pro Football Academy. I just want to ask you a question. I'm 17 years old. What are the exercise I can do during lockdown to ensure my finishing ability is still up to the mark?
Yeah. So have you got a ball, Sean?
Yes, sir.
And all you need then is an object. It could be, let's say, a cone. It could be another ball. It could be a shoe. Just another object, okay? And if you start, then you put that object, let's say, 5 yards away from the ball, okay?
Okay.
With the ball, hit the object, okay? If you hit it from 5 yards away, move it back again another 3 yards. Try hit it again. Then if you hit it from 3 yards away, move it back further again. So you're challenging yourself the whole time, and it's only a small object, so you're constantly challenging yourself. And then let's say they're all on a flat surface. Put that object then, let's say, on top of a step or on top of something else. So now you're challenging not only, let's say, a flat shot. Now you're challenging them to chip the ball as well, to hit that object that's on some sort of level as well.
Yes, sir.
And it's just keeping that. Like, you might have another challenge is if you have a bin, and you're trying to get the ball into the bin, or a big bucket or something like that, and you're trying to kick it into the bucket. because that's a small object again. And if you can if you can get it into a smaller object or hit a small object, when you go back to playing in a big goal, you're then going to be able to find the corners or find them spots that the keeper can't get to, So.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, Sean, hope Craig answered your question. And it is really good because if you can aim for these small objects, obviously you can go for the bottom corner.
Yeah.
We'll see you training at Ajax, I think, Craig, in a few years.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Because you're right about one thing, that we cannot train in a group, and 1v1 sessions, coaches like you are like the hot property of the market, I must say.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Andy has a question. Andy, could you please come on the line?
Yeah. I was just wondering, just in terms of your point about the 1v1s, in the 11-a-side game, which I 100% agree with you. Just in terms of when you're coaching 1v1, do you take them in terms of how they would combine? So say the left winger in a game, you would maybe combine with the striker, with the midfielder. Do you try and bring that into it as such to try and give them more of a tactical awareness of their own position, maybe when they're slightly older?
Yeah. So I suppose again, as well, let's even take left back for argument's sake. First of all, you kind of as well, you have to be careful in terms of if that left back is playing on a team and their coach doesn't want them going, let's say, over the halfway line. You have to be careful then not to teach them, their overlaps and things like that. So you kind of have to get a bit of a knowledge on what way they play in the team as well. So, and let's say they give you a full thing. Let's say you go up to their left winger. Let's say the left winger is a very attack-minded left winger. So then what you try give them the different options. So you might say, right, we're going to pretend now we're getting the ball from, let's say, the left back first of all. So they're getting I'd be the left back. I'll pass it up to the left winger. And then you're creating little situations or little scenarios that, let's say, we're getting them to just dribble down the line. And then they're getting down the line and they're crossing a ball in. So you might have, let's say, a smaller goal then just kind of in the 6-yard box, that when they cross it across, it's like hitting let's say, playing in your 10 or you're playing in your 9 kind of thing. Okay. And then you progress it then again that, let's say, it might be that I might be the 10 now and I'm actually bouncing a ball inside. And then it kind of, depending on the level, you can kind of say, right, you show them the two situations. So you show them, right, I'm going to bounce it into the 10. And then the winger continues their run down the line. So we create a little 1-2, and then we get the cross. The other option then you could say to them is, right, you're going to bounce it into the 10, but the space is actually not down the line. The space is actually inside. So now we're going to go inside. So you just create the two scenarios. You show them both. They might do, let's say, 5 footballs of each. So they go down the line 5 times. Then they go inside 5 times. Then you take everything away. So let's say you take all the cones off the pitch. You take the little goal away. Now, I'm still the 10. It's your choice now. You're on the pitch. You're making the decisions on the pitch. There should be no coach on the sideline telling you, pass it inside to the 10, go down the line, go on, cross it in, pass it inside, go down, So they have to then have that creativity in themselves. So, but you're just kind of showing them situations and creating situations, but you can never be like, this is what you should do, because in a game, you don't know what situation they're in, and they have to have that creativity, and because I find like if you're constantly roaring and shouting at a player and telling him where to go, here to go, here to go, that day that coach is not on the sideline, the player is looking over at the side waiting for someone to roar at them. There's no one going to roar at them, and that player then doesn't know what to do on the pitch, So, but yeah, you definitely you pencil out the different scenarios that they could be in. You might find as a coach, you might have to do that extra work, and you might actually be the left back. You might actually play them down the wing. They might dribble down the wing. All of a sudden now you've moved into the 10 position yourself. You're getting the ball off the 10, and then they're creative. So you're starting the phase of play back further again. And I suppose you have to bring in then the little kind of match to make it as match realistic as you can. You want that player roaring and shouting for the ball. You want them demanding the ball off you. You want them getting their eyes up to look, and you have to bring all these points in as well. It can't be just because it's just me and them as such, or me and you. they, we can't forget these steps, because if they forget these steps with me, let's say, they might not do it in training, and then if they don't do it in training, they won't do it on the match. So you're creating that environment no matter what age they are, and it's bringing confidence out of them again, because if they're confident enough to roar and shout at the ball off me, well, then they should be confident to roar the ball off their friends as well, that kind of way. So but yeah, no, definitely you've to create the situations, because it's grand. Like yes, you have to do a certain amount of dribbling through cones or different patterns, but again, there's no cones in the game, so you don't want them kind of lost in that kind of situation as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Top man.
It's the same. Let's say you might do a pattern of play with a team, and you'd have, let's say, it could be an attacking combination down the left wing or attacking combination down the right wing. You'd have all those players. You'd have your left back, your left winger. You'd have a number 10 or maybe number 8, and then you'd even have your striker in the box. So you're trying to create that without obviously having all these players. What you can do as well is I have a passing boards. So passing boards as well kind of save me a bit of energy running around the pitch as well. And they might be literally bouncing it in off the passing board, and that passing board is the number 10, and then they're down the line as well, that kind of way. So it's just all these equipment. But again, at the start, you're not there's no point going out buying all these equipment and all that. You can create any scenario with anything you have. It could be, even from a home environment, that left winger could have a wall outside their house, and they could be dribbling down the path or the road, bounce it off the wall. As it comes back, they're continuing down the line, and they then take a shot or take a cross, and it goes into the gates. That can be the box that they're aiming for. You can create these scenarios again in the home environment. To create it all, the culture. So yeah, good question. Yeah,
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Andy, hope your question was answered. We'll move forward. Craig, there's a question from a former I-League coach who used to coach ONGC, which was a really celebrated club back in the times. There's a question from Mr. Shubroto Bhattacharya. And he says, I need your suggestions about when the team will be back in training after lockdown days. So he says,
I think he'd like to ask that question.
Oh, great. Okay, Shubroto sir, are you on the line?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. You go ahead.
Hello. My dear coach. That I just would like to get your suggestion about after that lockdown phase, when I will start with my training session with a professional team, elite team. Then how I can make the plan regarding the workload, regarding the periodization, regarding the other aspect. What is the priority? Which area I will give my priority to start the team for a elite league like I League or like that?
Yeah. As to say when it's going to go back, it's very hard. I suppose it's because I suppose every country in the world is in a different situation, in a different part of the virus as such, I know at the moment now over here, we're kind of slowly getting ready to go back to training. But what we have to do now over here is, you might normally have 20 players in your squad. We now have to train in, let's say, groups of 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So the groups are a lot smaller. So then instead of, let's say, coach now training for 2 hours or 1 hour a night, that coach is going to have to train for 3 or 4 hours, which is not going to be, not every coach is going to be able to do that, and then when you do get back training, it's hard. If you are in smaller groups, it's hard to do, proper matches, because you're not having your full team there, and you mightn't have the players that you need for that, for what you want to work on. So you're really going to have to kind of generalize the sessions and such, and kind of have the same session for each group. But it's really as for kind of your periodization and all that, and kind of what you do when you go back in, it's back to what I said before. It's get them straight back into the ball, get the ball in their feet straight away, and just start off with your match. believe in first 2-3 weeks, it's going to be getting their technique, their touch back, because they're going to have lost that at a certain stage during the lockdown, you know. And like even with getting them back on the ball and getting them, they're going to start getting a small bit of fitness back. And then as the season kind of gets slower, you kind of say, okay, I'm going to bring a small bit of seed. So like the first, let's say the 3 weeks, don't do any fitness, just do ball work. And then your next 3 weeks, kind of do 60, 40, so 40% maybe a bit of fitness and 60% ball work. And then you're kind of, you know, you're getting that fitness levels up, rather than like if you go straight back into fitness and running and all this kind of thing, you're going to get players injured, and then you're back again to less players again, you know, and it's going to take harder again to get them up. So it is.
Excuse me. When can I ask? Can I continue?
Yeah.
Then when I will take my test regarding that, you know that all testing, I have to take the test before I make any planning or anything like that, speed test and other testing.
We're testing with
Hello.
Testing with the with COVID, is it?
Before that, I have to take their fitness test. No, before I starting or making the planning, I have to take the players' fitness test, like speed test,
Okay.
that explosive power test and other testing, intermittent high endurance test. Then I have to take the all test before start any planning. No, so when I will go for the testing.
I can't answer that. So it's going to be different again in every country. So it just depends on like what way the virus is. Association is going to have different plans put in place. So they are.
No. I have to take the player test. No, before the starting anything, I have to take their physical test, like that their intermittent, that yo-yo test, regarding the speed test, dribbling test. Throughout the world, before starting any session, new session, I have to do the testing. Some coaches are taking the testing after pre-season. Some coaches are taking the testing after pro season. So, but
like,
now it is a difficult situation because.
Yeah, so I suppose with that,
Hello?
like if you have 8 weeks before the season starts, when you have, let's say you have 8 weeks, so you need to plan. So the first week, 2 weeks, get them in for their ball work, okay? And then you still have 6 weeks. So then you do your testing. Then, let's say on week 3. So you still have week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you do one test after week 3, and then on your 8th week, you're testing them then again to see if the progression has been there. Does that make sense? I can't hear you, sorry. See, muted.
Okay. Craig, we'll just move ahead because I think there was a lot of detail in that question and the answer too. Yeah, and it was really high level stuff. Thank you, Subrata sir, for answering asking the question. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you on the field soon because in India also the situation is bad. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. I would just ask a simple question, Craig, before we move ahead, and then we'll go towards the closing because it's what's the time right now? Wait, it's around 10:15 in India.
Hold on, bedtime
at night. Yeah. So it's bedtime and I haven't had dinner yet and a lot of people here. So I'll just quickly progress through the questions. So, okay, we talked about your education and the UEFA B that you did. Craig, there's a coaching philosophy that is usually associated with how you coach and how how you start your the journey of you being a coach. In individual sessions, is there anybody you look at, or do you take your motivation from someone? Because we know that you are a United coach. We had a video call before the webinar started, and we got to know that you are a Manchester United coach.
Yes.
There's a lot of individual training that used to happen when SAF, back in the days when SAF was there. Willenstein used to take a lot of sessions of individual players and improve them. We have read from the books and everything. Who was your motivation behind what you do right?
Like, I suppose, as such, there's no real, I suppose, motivation for the individual. I suppose, but as a general, like, from a player's point of view, my favorite player, my motivation was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from Man United.
Okay.
And even when he, now that he's the manager in United, I've even heard a lot that he's, even with Rashford and all, he's really goes into really trying to help them on an individual basis to scoring your goals, and that, adding that extra composure in front of the goal and the little steps like that. So, like, I suppose, like, and I've always found, like, he's the type of man, he's very similar to me in terms that he's not one that's going to be roaring and shouting on the line. He's analysing the game, and he does his talking, like, before the game and after the game, and he lets the players be creative then on the pitch, Like, obviously there's going to be times where you're going to have to say something to players during the game, but a lot of the time he's sitting back and he's watching and he's making his point, and then he's kind of getting them points across, to the players on an individual level when you can have that little personal conversation, So, I suppose, you could say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on a, definitely from a player's point of view. And, like, when he's gone on to management now as well, I've enjoyed his journey in management as well. And he's still very young, so he could still potentially go a lot of places, So he could.
Right.
So, and it's, from a Man United fan, I'm giving him the time. I think he is going to do well. So I'm going to give him the time at Man United. So, yeah.
Same here. Because we are finally playing the football that we wanted to play since so many years. Neeraj has a question.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Craig. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, you were saying?
No, I was just saying it takes time, It's the same as the players, as you said, Messi took 17 years to be an overnight sensation,
Right.
Managers take time to kind of create a culture at a club as well. Ferguson took years to create the culture, and then when he left, it kind of went. So, like, Solskjaer's bringing that back again, but it's going to take time,
Right.
So it is.
Right. Okay.
So fingers crossed we'll win the Premiership and the Champions League in a few years' time.
Let's see. Hoping for the best. At least we are playing the football that we wanted to see since SF left, I think. Neeraj has a question. Neeraj, could you...
Yeah. Hi,
Okay.
Sid.
Yeah, hi. Go ahead.
Hi, Craig. I promise this will be the last one for me. Now, coming back to the topic of the one-on-one coaching, I was just thinking about the discussions or the ideas which you shared, and I tried to put that into the Indian scenario. And I would just like to give you a small brief about how the Indian football scenario is happening right now. Most of the kids are confined at homes. There is not enough space to go out and play. So our coaching, our online coaching has been happening in a confined space of say 2 by 2 meters.
Yeah.
And there is only so much we could do with the technical part of the game.
Yeah.
So how do we? What kind of new things which we could try to experiment with the kids given the space? There is a space constraint, and there is equipment constraint, you can say.
Yeah. Like, I suppose even like on my social media accounts, so on my Instagram accounts or anything like that, I have different drills that I would have done when we were in lockdown over here in Ireland, out in my back garden, in a small area again, and even equipment wise, the majority of the time, it might have been just a ball, that you were using, and there's very simple ones, and it's even at times you don't have to overcomplicate it, and you don't have to change it every time. It could be the same drill with a tiny little adjustment added in, and even if it's 10 minutes a day, and let's say there's one that literally all you need is a ball and a wall, and you're passing it with your right leg, then you pass it with your left leg, right leg, left leg, and even if you do it, you could do a few different variations of them, that you could pass it with your right leg off the wall, take a touch across your body, pass it with your left leg, take a touch across your body. You can do that touch then with the inside of your foot. You could do that touch with the outside of your foot. You can do it with the sole of your foot. You could do a little a little Cruyff turn as such as well, you know, with that ball when you turn it off the wall. And you're just kind of, you're adding these little bits in. And then at the end, you might have like 5 variations that you want the player to do 10 minutes a day. They spend 2 minutes on each variation, working on both feet. They're working on their first touch. Another little challenge that they can do at home, all they need is a ball, again, is little keepy-uppies. And you might find there's a player that can't do any keepy-uppies. Day one, all you want them to do is do 2 keepy-uppies, let's say.
Right.
And do keepy-uppies after a week, a few days. By the end of the week, they might have got to 7. That player is already now better than what they were on day one.
Right.
And that's the thing. Don't challenge the players as a team for little things like that. They need to challenge them individually, because if they improve individually, they're going to help the team anyway. You know, where if you let's say I wasn't very good at keepy-uppies and you were the best player on the team at keepy-uppies. If you had 50 keepy-uppies and I'd only 7, I might give up, because I'm thinking, sure, I'm never going to catch you. You know, but if you just say, no, don't worry about what he's doing or what he or she is doing. You just try to get better than what you were at the start of the week. You know, it's even little things like that it helps a lot. You know, the other things are doing little ball masteries or little skills. You know, and you might teach. You know, you might give a player 3 ball masteries to learn a week. You know, or 3 skills to learn a week. And again, for them, all they need is a ball. You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I get the point, because the one positive side about one-on-one coaching, as per Indian conditions, say one-on-one coaching in a room, the player is playing in a room, that you're not judged based on the better player. So there is no pressure as such from the out, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I mean, and coming back to the point about having different variations into the sessions, I've been doing the online sessions with my kids for about 1.5 months now. And to be honest, you know, I'm kind of running out of ideas about what I can do. So because there have been repetitions of the same drills, say Cruyff turn. So there were combinations. So using your inside foot, outside foot, and then do a Cruyff turn, or do a do a keepy-ups and do a Cruyff turn, you know, just for an example. But like, I'm getting exhausted with my resources over there. So is there any physical aspect which I could add into the sessions?
No, like, not really. You know, it's just really just to kind of just keep repeating it. But like, I know it's tiring and all that, but again, kind of like, and it's even like, you might even say, right, we've done 6 weeks now, and we've done an online session every day or whatever like that. You might just say, right, we've worked really hard for 6 weeks. We're going to just all now take a week's break. You know, so just take a week. Don't worry, like, because you've worked very hard for 6 weeks now, giving them stuff to do. So don't feel like, oh, but if I don't do it next week, they're going to be like just sitting at home. But like, at the end of the day, everybody needs a break to recharge. If you were in the middle of a season, at the end of a season, there's a few weeks before the next season starts and people switch off, you know? So use it for that. Like, just go, right, I'm going to switch off. You recharge the batteries, and that gives you a week as well to try think of new ideas. And then you come back, and then you have a new idea. When they come back, they're like, brilliant, new ideas. We haven't done this before. And they're delighted again to do it, you know? That's where, like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but the players might get bored of seeing the same face over and over again as well, you know, that kind of way. So you just want to kind of take a break and then go again, you know.
Correct. No, I have experienced the same thing. That Neeraj is here, Neeraj sir is here. Now we are going to do this, because it became so predictable that the kids knew what I'm going to say next. So we reached that level, no? So, but anyways, that gives a good point, that the kids also have something to look forward for, and we as coaches can consolidate the things about what we did and take a stock about the previous sessions which you did. So that's a good point. Yes.
Like, even if you or if anybody on this call wants ideas, just, you know, find me on social media and just pop me a message, and I'd help anyone out. You know, I might be able to send you little videos even that you might be able to do yourself, you know. So I'm here to help. So, you know, don't be afraid to get in contact that way. Okay.
That's great, Craig. That's great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you. Over to you, Sid.
Cheers, Neeraj.
All right.
That's
done.
okay, man. It's okay. You can ask as many questions as you like. That's why we are doing this. Craig, there's a question here from Mr. Tapash Ghosh, who is a former I-League player, and he was a coach at Mumbai FC. Yeah. So the question is, till what age do you see kids developing stage, and from when do you go for the result? Like, till what age do kids develop, and when do you become result oriented?
Um, I'm kind of I try and make everything from up to under 13s the fun side of things, and
Right.
then when they hit the 14, then you're really kind of starting to challenge them in terms of where do they want to go and where do they want to be as a player. And now you will find players younger than 14 that know already and they're fully committed to soccer and that's the only sport they're playing.
Right.
And then if you know that, then you can go with that player, you know. But I suppose just as a general kind of rule, I don't really kind of start seeing players getting it as a full-time gig, I suppose, or just making that commitment to full-time soccer until they hit 14.
Right.
But again, I suppose that could be different. You know, that's here in Ireland. And I'm looking at it from a point of view of they have different sports, they have football, they have hurling, you know,
Right.
they have athletics, all these kind of things. So, like you might tell me there's different, you know, with cricket and all this kind of thing, you know, you just don't know what other sports a player is
True.
playing, you know.
True.
And I suppose what's the favourite sport as well, you know.
Right.
Know, that kind of way.
Okay. Craig, there's something wrong with your video. The connection is lagging, I think. Craig, can you hear me?
Interview. It's kind of one that. Hello.
Yeah, your connection is lagging. I think there's something up with the network. It shows. Yeah, now it shows. Okay. Can you hear me, Craig? Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I hear. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a question here from Nazir, and we'll just finish it quickly because the questions are pouring in. He says that I practice with my sister, but we don't have space in our home. So are there any drills where there's no space? It's a very
Yeah. Like the question back is what is no space? You know, like you're always going to have let's say there's no garden or no, you know, no area out the front or anything like that. If you're just inside your house,
right,
the first thing to do is ask your parents, are you allowed to use it inside before you break something? And then like it's just, you can still always practice, but it's just instead of actually doing like your proper your proper intense passes, you know, you're just slowing it down. So you might be rolling the pass to your sister and back to your sister rather than actually like properly passing it into them, you know. Or you can there's loads of ball masteries around that you can find on anywhere online that you actually don't have to move the ball. You know, it could be toe taps where you're actually just touching every second foot with your toe. You know, it could be you could be doing little scissors or step overs where you're actually just touching the ball literally an inch to the right, and then you do a scissors an inch back to the left and do a scissors, you know, that you're not actually moving. So you can definitely do something with no space. The other thing to do is use a smaller ball inside the house, or like I know a big thing over here in Ireland, what people used as a joke during the lockdown and the COVID was they used toilet paper instead of a ball, so it was softer.
Right. We saw that a lot.
Yes, to keep you uppies with the toilet paper and all that, you know. So,
yeah.
Or even like you could use toilet paper and try kick the toilet paper into a bucket or a bin in the house as well, you know, things like that. That's down to as well the question I had earlier on about, you know, challenging the accuracy and all that and shooting. You know, it's harder again to kick toilet paper into a bucket or a bin, you know. So definitely there's definitely you can definitely practice at home with no space. So you can.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Craig. I just wanted to ask you because a lot of people have a lot of questions, and I'm sure that the more they think about this, they'll have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
What's the best way to contact you? Where are you most active? Instagram? Is it LinkedIn?
Yeah, it's probably Instagram. So it's just CR Coaching on Instagram, and literally just pop me a message. And like I suppose I'm coaching now at the moment because it's very busy most of the time, kind of from for most kind of the full day, but I'd always kind of get back to you later on that night or something like that. So, you know, if you send me a message, I'll definitely get back to you, and definitely, because I suppose that's what I'm doing with my job. I'm helping people on the pitch. So if I can help more people, and, you know, no matter where people are, you know, that's what I love doing. I love helping people. So, if they want to pop me a message on Instagram, and I can get back to people, because definitely, look, I've said a load on this, and people are bound to kind of forget, or kind of maybe not unsure what I meant by it. So, you know, if they pop me the message, I can get back to them and kind of make it clearer, I suppose, you know. So I can, and then he can bring me over then to India, and I'll do some coaching over in India for you.
That would be ideal. Once the situation gets over, I think you should come here and connect with us, and maybe we'll learn a few tips of the trade from you.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. You have just shared. Okay, Sia Coaching 9. Is that the Insta handle, Craig?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, Craig. That's it. We'll be ending here. And before we end, we just wanna give a little insight about our next webinar, which is day after tomorrow. We have this is for the participants. We have Mr. Mark Savadis to talk about how to create effective and game-related training sessions. And Mark is a technical director in California and was with Crystal Palace, Chelsea, and Southampton. So we have a lot of information coming on that too. Craig, any last words?
No, just
Before we end the
thanks very much
webinar.
for having me on.
Yeah.
It was great to be on, and hopefully, you know, I've helped some people, whether it's coaches or players, and giving you a few ideas. And just you know, don't feel free to ask me something more, you know, connect or whatever like that, and hopefully it can help you. So thanks again.
Thank you so much, Craig. It was a pleasure having you here. And I think this is the only webinar where so many questions were answered, and a lot of people got involved.
Good.
Yeah, because we had a lot of questions planned for you, I personally, but there were so many questions pouring in, and it got so interesting to a point where I thought that let it be just questions and answers from Craig, from the audience to Craig. Thank you so much, Craig.
Yes.
You have been really sporting
Thank you,
in answering the questions, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Good. Thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Craig. Take care. Stay safe.